The time has come to replace this. The time has come to replace this because it sags in the middle just a little, but it's still enough that whenever I'm running stuff through the router table, I'm having trouble getting it to form into it and get an even edge on stuff or whatever. And I happen to have this plate here of looks like about 1/8 inch aluminum. Something to keep in mind if you're going to be cutting aluminum on your table saw that I learned a long time ago is you need to make sure you blow out all of the dust that's down inside the saw, all that sawdust, because you're going to be shooting red hot metal down into it, and you don't want to start any fires in your table saw while you're trying to work. So I'm going to take a minute here and blow everything out of it real good, clean it out, and then maybe I can get to cutting. Well, looking at the floor now, you can see that I blew a lot of sawdust out of there. Let me get out my broom. The blade I'm using is not my good wood cutting blade. Actually, I think it's a plywood blade is what's in it. It's just a cheap blade that I found somewhere. It's got lots of teeth. Let's start by cutting it off right about there. It's been a long time since I cut aluminum, and I didn't like it then either. That blade ain't making it. I'm changing the blade. That's just trashing that blade. I've cut on table saws before, cut aluminum. Not on this table saw. Now, off camera, I put on just a general purpose circular saw blade, like a construction type blade. And that went through it almost like going through butter with a knife, so that's a lot better. And I have now reset the fence to get my last cut done. So here we go. And there it is, a little grinder time, clean up the edges, and it's ready to be my top plate for the router table now. Well, what I decided I wanted to do, instead of making a wood plate to go under here, I'm going to use angle iron and just do a frame. So that keeps it thinner, stronger, well, at least as strong anyway, and it's not going to warp when it gets moist or humid or anything like that, like I was having trouble with before, which I didn't understand why it would do that, but it shouldn't. But anyway, this angle iron is an old bed frame that I held on to. You can tell by the stuff gathering in the corners. Alrighty, well, I got them all ground down and in place here. It's like I say, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's close enough. Now I got to drill the holes to mount this to the plate. And drilling holes in angle iron is not fun. Alright, well, I pre-drilled my pilot hole, pre-gnarled it, whatever you want to call it, and I was chewing up some other bits trying to do this, and then I looked it up and figured out these cobalt bits go through it like going through butter. Now, this stuff is hard to drill through. unless you use the right bits. That already had some lube on it where I'd put it on there before. See, these are the Cobalt bits. I happen to get DeWalt because that's what the store close to me had. There are other brands, so it's up to you what you get if you're going to use them for this, but I highly recommend it. It was like 30 bucks for that set, so it's not that expensive even, to make life a whole lot easier. Okay, so now I need to mark for the holes. And I had to turn it upside down because that's the side that mates to these, so you got to make sure you do that. Otherwise, your holes are going to be in the wrong place, most likely. Don't ask me how I know that. Let's just say there's a few more holes than we planned on. I'll be honest with you. I screwed up. That edge. That against the edge. All right. So now I need a hole right here. And another one right. Ow! Not on my thumb. I remember these are number 10 stainless steel screws that I'm using because I can taper the hole and that'll sink down into it and not stick up above the table. And 7/32 is a nice fit for that. Just loose enough you can work with it, but not so loose that you're going to have a problem. 3/16 might work as well. I don't know. I like the 7/32, so I'm going with it. All right, now I'm going to be beveling these holes out a little bit so that I can put that down in it. Make sure it goes all the way down in. Sits flush. That may work. We'll find out. Okay, this is the back. So there's the saw side, the front. This one's the back. All right, let's see. Okay, so I got that clamped on there so I can work with it. I'm using these nylon lock nut things on it. I gotta take it back apart again anyway, because I gotta figure out where the holes go in the end to attach it to the saw and all that stuff still, but I gotta get it put together so I can put it on, clamp it to it so I can tell where it's going. If you're using the number 10s, this is a 3/8 deep. I got longer than I needed, but I wanted to make sure I had enough. There's the top. All right, so I've got the top lined up upside down, lined up with each edge of the tabletop. And this hole and this hole are the ones I need to bolt to. This one is like almost no access to it. I may go ahead and do it anyway. So take this, lay it across the middle of that. Put the black line up there, because let's face it, a pencil line on this stuff doesn't show very well. Need to move that one over just a little. Lay that on there. It's right there. All right, so that gives me the center up and down. Now I gotta figure there to there, so I can put that there to there. So I carefully measured where I'm going to put my next screw up. And I got it marked. Now I got to punch it. And you're wondering why I'm using such a small hammer. I do have bigger hammers, but I also have bigger thumbs. And if I'm going to hit something, I don't want to hit something like a thumb anyway. I don't want to hit it too hard. Like that. And let's face it, I'm going to hit my thumb. That one still wants to walk on me. Some days, like Batman says, some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. All right. That does it. To attach the top to here and the sides, I'm using 1/4 inch bolts and nuts, which means I need 7/16 socket and wrench. I'll see if I can get this to fit in there. So I'm going to see if I can attach this. Now I drilled the holes a little bit big, so I can adjust it a little if I need to. Plus these are a little bit big, so that'll help. Put that one. That one. Well, that's about what I expected to happen. Excuse me. Once I get it all figured out, then I'll add washers and stuff to it to hold it. I'm not going to put this tight, just to snug it up a little. I'm not even going to do that at this rate. Alright. That's good enough to line it up and hold on. So what I'm doing here, I've got that straight edge clamped to the other side of the top, so I can bring this edge up and clamp this side onto here. I still gotta bring these edges, so okay. But that'll at least let me know where the holes are on the side, so I know where to drill. See if I can drill a hole with it on here. At least I can put a starting mark on it, right? Alrighty, so here we are. Finished, done, all that good stuff. I added a support across the middle underneath, so that if I do add a router lift to the end of it here, it won't sag. And basically all you're doing here is turning a bed frame into a picture frame, and then instead of putting glass or a picture in it, you can add metal. You could even turn this upside down, use the angle iron the other way, and you could put plywood in it. You could put whatever, you know. Take somebody's old table or dining room table they're throwing out, cut it down, put hardwood in there if that's what you want, or melamine, just, whatever you want in it to make an extension table for your table saw and give you a little bit more room. It's a pretty simple process, and you can do it. Like me, it was just cost of the bolts. That's all I bought to do this. Well, I did get some drill bits, come to think of it, but those will be used for a lot of other things. So, yeah, a simple and yet very effective way to add space to your table saw, and you can do it little to no cost, because you can get your angle iron, your bed frames. Those are being given away all the time on Nextdoor and Craigslist and all those kind of things. So just keep an eye on those, and you can do it in time.